that.
Yeah, well, it's a good win. The Lions take wins any way they can get them, without a doubt.
Yes.
Matt Stafford, I mean, unfortunately with the running game being suspect, everybody knows where all the Lions offense leads. That guy by the name of Matthew Stafford.
Yes. Yeah.
They can criticize him all day long, but as far as I'm concerned, Matthew Stafford's a good quarterback. And I'll give you another 2 minutes to comment on Michigan and Notre Dame. Do you think that the Michigan win over Notre Dame takes a lot of the heat off of Jim Harbaugh? Although I think if they were to let Harbaugh go, it'd be the biggest joke on the planet.
I feel like the reaction of it, I feel like we just won the national championship. If I'm being, hysterical, I feel like we just won it, and all of a sudden, let's fire Harbaugh, let's get him out of there, let's make changes, let's do this, let's do that. I feel like it's changed the whole perspective of it. But in reality, when we play Ohio State, I feel like we're just going to fall back to square one again of, we really need to get Harbaugh out of here. But I hope this is a trend of what's to come. I hope they can put up as many points as they did. They did trail by 21. They came back. They won it. And so if they keep this going, if they can get an offensive drive going like they keep doing, with all the points they're scoring so far, it should be a good matchup. But I don't know, man. Ohio State scares me.
Well, I think what Michigan needs to do, and even Michael Keller alluded to it, and a lot of people, they need to find their identity. Are they a passing team, or are they a team that goes ahead and runs the football? I mean, just find an identity is what they need to do,
exactly.
Whatever it may be.
Yeah, and exactly. And growing up, I remember, we were both a passing team and a running team. We had Michael Hart in the back. We had Braylon Edwards on the outside. Chad Henne throwing the football. It was a beautiful thing to watch, and so I want to get back to those days. Those days were great. I remember beating Penn State. I remember beating Notre Dame with ease. I remember all these things, and now it's like we can barely beat these teams. Granted, Notre Dame, but we just got to get back to prominent again. People are so, caught up in the past that we're neglecting the future and what we stand for, and so we can't accept losing. And I feel like we are. We got to win, like winning. That's all that matters.
Well, again, Jim Harbaugh, to me, say what you want, but I think the guy's great. I have no problem with him. And what people should understand is when you think about getting rid of a coach, remember one old adage. Okay, if you're thinking about doing it, you better have a darn good replacement for him instead of start looking for one, because it's so easy to get rid of a coach and regress as it is to progress. Have the Wolverines hit national championship levels? Maybe not, but you know what? To me, that program is far better with Jim Harbaugh than it would have been without him.
And popularity can bring in recruits. You know what I mean? With Nick Saban in Alabama, bringing that that victory, that culture of winning, if you say, and players like that stuff. And so if you got a guy that's played is coached in the NFL and has played in the NFL, they're going to listen to him and they're going to come to that college because they want that experience. And so, it's going to be a very hard thing. PJ Fleck would be a good replacement, in my opinion. I know Mark D'Antonio if they're thinking about getting rid of him at Michigan State. I don't know if he'll come over here, but there's a lot of coaching changes that I think are going to be made this offseason, and so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. That'll be one of your next segments. Not right away, but you can keep that in mind. We only have about 30 seconds, Lewis. You want to say one more thing?
Just to add on with what Damon said, if you get rid of Harbaugh, the credibility of that Michigan football team kind of just goes downhill. I think a lot of the traction that they have with him, and part of that's because of his enigmatic personality, would kind of just go away.
I agree.
And they don't want to do that.
Especially with the khakis.
Exactly. So I think they'd be smart to keep him there. And he's got like a 6-year contract, and he's only been there for 5. So
he's okay.
Leave him be.
Closest thing to a lifetime contract. There you go, Lewis. Hey, you know what? We're breaking in Lewis pretty well when it comes to the Wolverines. He's got a steady diet of amazing blue tonight.
John Gruden's the only coach that I can think of that has a lifetime contract with anybody, and that's with the Raiders, and I think that was a big mistake.
Well, that'll be for another time. That's what I like when you write stories, man. You write about it, you come up with ideas, you put them on paper, and then you get your 10 minutes of claim to fame. 20 minutes a week to talk about it. That's what this process is all about. You and Lewis seem to have caught on to it. With that said, okay, I'll be curious to see what you got to say on Thursday night, Damon. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, I'll come up with something good. Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you will. All right, you have a good night, and we'll do it again Thursday night.
See ya. Take care, Damon.
See ya. Yeah, have a good night.
All right, you bet. So tell me, Lewis, you getting a steady diet of Michigan Wolverine stuff that you haven't had before, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot more than I did before today. I mean, I hope so. Michigan was one of the schools that I knew somewhat about. First thing I know, Tom Brady goes there, right? He went there, competed with Drew Olson. But, hear from Keller and, obviously local Michigan brethren and Damon, it's, interesting to see. I know he's a big Red Wings fan, too, so.
I'll tell you all kinds of Michigan stories as I continue to bring my Michiganders on the air. Don't worry, Michael Keller will be on here come Michigan State time, and that ought to be in the next few weeks or so. We're trying to bring in some good people. We'll have a lot of other good ones that we'll divulge, not tonight.
Yeah, we got to kind of keep the guests waiting, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
we got to keep it real. Got to give people a reason to go to our social media pages, right?
You can't give someone their birthday gift if their birthday's in October. You can't give it to them in July because it's like, really, there's no suspense, there's no surprise there. So I mean, we have to line them up, and then we show them to them and we unveil them. And they open them up on Christmas Day.
Well, with that said. We have Xavier McKnight on the program. And Xavier, how you doing, buddy? Welcome to the big show on the South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network. You're in the house with Scott, the Motor City Madmouth, and Louis Adios.
Doing great, guys. As always, it's great to be on with you guys. Great to talk some great baseball tonight.
Yeah, Lewis is finally looking forward to going to baseball.
Where you see in those TV shows, they crack their hands and they just start, getting ready to develop. Dive into their expertise. This guy
got a steady dose of football, so I think he's ready to dive onto the baseball diamond. So the floor is yours between you and Lewis on baseball. What do you got, Xavier?
Well, I'm very excited to say that we finally have an exciting game in these 2019 World Series. The Nationals currently up 3-2. We're deep into the ball game. We have not seen this for this entire World Series of what was supposed to be a duel of pitchers matchups. Both of these teams prior to tonight had taken runs, just absolutely taking turns, just scorching runs off of each other. So it's nice to see that we're finally getting this in Game 6. Hopefully we do get a Game 7 and we end up getting another similar game so that we can walk away with some pleasant memories of this World Series.
So, yeah, Xavier, you know what World Series this reminds me the most of? 2001. And the only reason I say that is because I believe it was Game 5 of that series. Randy Johnson and the Diamondbacks absolutely demolished the Yankees. They dissected them like a mortician. I believe the score of that game was 15-1. And we saw the 8-1 game the other day. Obviously, Rodney throws a nice two-seam that runs in, and Bregman, the hitter that he is, he doesn't strike out. 420 on base or something this year. He hit a grand slam, only the 20th grand slam in World Series history. Yeah, the other than the first game, I agree with you. And then Urquidy's game in Game 4 was very good, but we really haven't had a wow moment. This is kind of the weirdest World Series that may go 7 games I remember seeing.
Well, I'm not going to say that this is the weirdest one that I remember because I remember 2011, I remember 2014. And I remember at times feeling like the Rangers should have closed that thing out well before Game 7 in 2011. And in 2014, the Royals weren't even supposed to be there. So, I mean, and we have almost a very similar case here with the Nationals. But you did have baseball aficionados out there who were actually saying that the Nationals would have a good shot of going to represent the National League in the World Series as long as they could get past the Dodgers, because they paid attention to how the Nats closed out the season. And they paid attention to how deep that pitching rotation was in the starting line, in the starting pitching rotation, not necessarily that bullpen. We know that bullpen has had its issues. But here's the good thing for the Nationals and why I'm really pushing for Game 7, not just because Game 7 are the 2 best words in sports, Louis, but Max Scherzer was supposed to start Game 5. He couldn't start Game 5 due to injuries. If we have a Game 7 tomorrow, we're going to have Max Scherzer on the mound. And, it's going to be very interesting to see where the Astros go with this. Do they go with Zach Greinke, or do they possibly go with Garrett Cole on short rest?
So, of the reports that I've read and what I've seen, Cole is obviously not available for tonight. They have said that he's going to, at some point tomorrow, I think A.J. Hinch is going to wind up throwing him, starting maybe in the 7th inning. We're not going to see what Bumgarner did and with Bochy in 2014, where Bumgarner throws nearly 5 innings out of the bullpen. We're not going to see that. But I can honestly tell you that Garrett Cole is going to try to get at least 7 to 9 outs tomorrow night. He's not starting the game. I think they're going to start Greinke just because they're just going to go with the pitching rotation. The Astros' biggest thing is they're going to have to do with what they did with Verlander in Game 1, or Scherzer, is that they have to work the pitch count. Scherzer only threw 5 innings in that first game. And, yeah, the neck spasms hurt him, and he couldn't start Game 5, arguably the biggest start of his career. And he is going to pitch tomorrow, I believe, if the Nationals do hold on and win this game. Because I did see him throwing, I saw some footage, and he was throwing, 80-90%. He looked good. He looked fine. I guess they gave him a cortisone shot that worked. But how much are you going to get out of him, though? What are you going to expect? So does Greinke need to be his best? No. Does he need to be better than Scherzer? Yeah. If they get 6 innings out of Greinke, the Astros may win tomorrow. Again, they could still win tonight. They got some time. I don't know.
Here's going to be the key. Well, here's going to be the key for the Nats, in my opinion. And I also want Scott to chime in on this as well. Are you getting the Max Scherzer you saw for the 4th and 5th innings of Game 1? Or are you getting the Max Scherzer who we saw in the first 3 innings of Game 1, who almost threw 80 pitches through the first 3 innings of that ball game?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think, me personally, the Nationals have an advantage with them being in Game 7 than they would have been in Game 5. That's what I think. And it's anybody's guess what will happen with the Astros. It really is. Because I think when you think about a potential Game 7 matchup, there's more pressure on the Astros not to blow it. There really is. On their own field. But, if I like the Nationals if Scherzer pitches to his potential. I really do. I think that they're on house money. They really are. When you think about the fact that they came down 3-2, back to Houston with the opportunity to close them out. And once again, Justin Verlander is winless in the World Series. So now, 7 attempts without a single W. Scary thought. And then, let's talk about the fact that would Verlander be able to pitch tomorrow night? Well, you never know. I mean, if it goes into extra innings, we've seen extra inning games too. Now, do I think he will? Probably not. Do you trust him? Probably not. Do you go back to Clayton Kershaw? Probably not. You see the trend. But to answer your question, okay, I think that with the Nationals, if Scherzer can go into the 7th game, you have a much better chance. And they were wise to take the gamble and wait 7 and find a way to fill in for him during Game 5. That's what I think.
Now, I'm going to address this question to you in particular, Lewis, before I go further into more of Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, Steven Strasburg, and other key pitchers, and it's not even going to be related to this World Series. Scott knows where I'm getting ready to go with this. But first, let me ask this. We've seen a lot of first-time evers in sports in this decade. The Nationals would be the first team in Major League Baseball history to win a World Series without winning a single game at home. If they can hold on in this game, and if they can pull it off tomorrow. Are we going to see another first time ever to close out this decade?
And to answer that, because you're the same age as me or pretty close, I'm going to reference a movie you and I probably both had on VHS growing up, and that's Angels in the Outfield. We're not going to argue the legitimacy of that movie, but Tony Danza's character, Mel Clark, pitches them in the last game. he throws something like 160 pitches, and he's gassed. And there's a scene where the manager goes to Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, who I believe was the bat boy, and I think Danny Glover was the manager.